Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. All right, so today we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at bustier. Now there are different types of bustier. We have bustiers with yoke and we have bustiers without yoke. Okay, now a bustier is simply a foundation for every contoured outfit. Okay, you can use a bustier to make off shoulders. Okay, and corsets, okay, some corsets anyway. All right, so that's what a bustier is actually all about. Now in this video we're going to be looking at how to alter the half scale basic bodice block to a bustier pattern. Okay, now we're going to also look at different outfits that you can make using a bustier pattern. Okay, now here are some of them. All right, so we'll jump right into the alteration of the block. Now let's proceed into the alteration proper. All right, so this is our half scale basic bodice block. Now we'll go ahead and begin our alteration. So the very first thing you need to introduce to this block is our underbust length. Okay, and my underbust length is 14 inches. So I'm placing my tape from the starting point, which automatic is our shoulder line. All right, so I'll go ahead and mark my underbust length of 14 inches. Now I'll come in with my ruler and I'll connect that. All right, and here we have it. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to determine the midpoint of our shoulder. All right, so remember that my neck measurement is 3 by 3. Okay, so I'll place my tape from the neck width to the shoulder tip like that, and I'll fold it into 2. Then I'll go ahead and mark the midpoint. Okay, now we're connecting that midpoint to the bust point. Okay, so like so. It's actually very easy and straightforward. And here we have it. We have connected from the midpoint of the shoulder slope to the bust point line. Now my underbust round is 33 inches, and 33 inches divided by 4 is 8.25. So I'll go ahead and place my tape. From the center front, I'll mark my 3 inches. Now I'll move my tape to the second dart leg and I'll continue to mark my 8.25. All right, and here we have it. Now what we have left is not up to 0.5. But that notwithstanding, we will still tighten my underbust with ½ inch. Okay, so if we measure what we have there, you find that we have tightened the underbust with 2 inches, and this is very okay. All right, so let's go ahead with the alteration. Now the next thing we need to do is to mark our cleavage line. Okay, and I have 2 methods of doing that. Now the first thing is I place my tape on the bust point line down to the underbust line. Okay, and in this case I have 3.5. Now I will simply carry that measurement, place my tape from the bust point line upwards, and I will mark that 3.5. And in most cases I add extra ½ inch, so that makes it 4 inches. Now the whole essence of this is to ensure that my bust is fully covered. Okay, but if you want your cleavage to be seen, you can go ahead and mark your desired cleavage line or your neck depth. Okay, now that's method 1. Now, method 2 is you go ahead and place your tape from your neck and you measure down to your desired cleavage, okay? And in this case, my desired cleavage is 6.5 inches, okay? So that's the desired cleavage depth that I want, all right? Now, because we need this 6.5 inches to run across this front block, okay, I'll go ahead and measure from the starting point to that 6.5 that we just measured, and that will give us 9.5. okay, so I'll go ahead and mark that, okay, across. Then I'll use a broken line to connect it. All right, so this is our cleavage line. Okay, now there's a standard method also. From your cleavage line you will go up by 3 inches. Okay, now this is also not a fixed approach. Okay, so so let's proceed. So from that line you go up by 3 inches. Okay, and I'll make a mark. Now I'll go ahead and connect that using a straight line, and this is our overbust line. Okay, so this is what an overbust is exactly. All right, now we need to tighten this overbust. Okay, so when you hear overbust tightening, is simply a method to ensure that when you bend, that area does not gape. Okay, So you can use between 1 inch to 2 inches to tighten your over bust. But whatever figure you're using, you are dividing that by 2. Okay, but on average, I make use of 1.5 inches. All right, so we're going to be dividing that 1.5 inches by 2, and that will give us 0.75. Okay, the same applies to 1 inch or 2 inches if that's the figure that you're using. All right, so you go ahead and divide your measurement into 2 and you mark it on both sides. Okay, now I told us that I'm making use of 1.5 inches, so we're going to divide that by 2 and we have 0.75. So I'll go ahead and mark my 0.75 on each of the sides. Now we'll come in with our straight line and we're connecting from the 0.75 to the bust point line. Okay, now you will need to avoid too much curves. Okay, we'll see the reason as we proceed. So I'll go ahead and connect this. I'm also connecting the other side to the bust point line like so, and here we have it. Now let's proceed. Okay, so we'll go ahead now and connect our underbust tightening using our curve ruler. Okay, now you need to pay attention here. Like I always say in my videos, ensure that the curve passes through the bust point line. All right, like so. Remember, we don't want that area to be too curvy, okay, because these are the tiny issues that affect fittings. All right, and here we have it. Now we will need to extend that line to the waist. Okay, but now to do this, we need to mark 0.25 inch away from that leg there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mark 0.25 inch there. Now this is to ensure that the waistline is well tightened. Okay, and again is also optional. So I'll go ahead and use the curved side of my ruler to connect to that part. Okay, now if you take note, I'm not making use of the straight part. This is because we don't have any sharp points, okay, on our body. All right, so you need to go ahead and blend every sharp point. All right, and here we have it for the center front. Okay, now we need to go ahead and connect the other side, okay, using our curve ruler as well. So we're connecting our underbust tightening. Now you need to pay attention here, because you need to ensure that your curve line is resting on the 0.75 over bust that leg. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect like so. All right, now we're also using the curved side of the ruler to connect from the underbust to the waist. All right, so just like we did on the center front, we're also coming out by 0.25. okay, so repeat the same thing that we did on the center front side. All right, so I'll use this curvy part of my ruler to connect from the underbust line to the waistline. Okay, like so. Now this 0.25 that we have used on both sides, if you add them together, that will give us 0.5. okay, now in pattern drafting, you need to ensure that all your measurements are complete. Okay, so we will still go ahead and reclaim the 0.5, okay, as we proceed with our drafting. Now note that we have not closed our bust dart. Okay, so we have not closed our bust dart. Now I'll go ahead and separate these two patterns, okay, so that we can be able to close our bust dart. All right, and here we have it. So the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and cut the center dart leg. Okay, so we will cut it till we get to the bust point line, okay, and we will stop exactly at the bust point. Okay, this is to enable us to close the bust dart easily. All right, so I will go ahead and try to close the bust dart. All right, but okay, so I'll go ahead and just separate the two patterns completely. Now we will keep the back pattern for now. Okay, we'll come back to it much later. All right, now let's proceed to close our bust dart, and as usual, you raise your pattern along the marked line, okay, and you rest it on the bust line like so. All right, and here we have it. Now I'll come in with my tape and we'll permanently close the bust dart. All right, and here we have it. Our bust dart is now closed. Okay, now we will need to reshape the bust point line. Please note that it's not in all cases that you reshape the bust point line, okay? I only do that when it looks like that side is looking pointy, okay? Because that's not the final look that that we want to get, okay? So I'm done reshaping that part. All right, now if you take a look at the side front, you will see that the lines are not meeting, okay? It's normal. Now the first thing we need to do is to mark the ½ inch that we use to tighten the waistline. Okay, so I have marked it. Now I'll use my ruler to connect from the chest line to that 0.5 that we marked on the waistline. Okay, remember, in pattern drafting, all your measurements must be complete. All right, and here we have it. We have reclaimed our ½ inch back. All right, so let's go ahead and try to close the overbust tightening. Okay, now this process is called dart throwing. Okay, now the whole essence is to ensure that all your patterns are equal. Now if you don't do this, let me tell us what will happen. When you transfer your patterns to fabric, you will find out that one side is longer, okay, or shorter, and these are part of the issues that that will make your outfit not to come out very well. All right, so let's proceed. Now it's the same method of closing all the darts. Okay, you try and raise the pattern paper along the marked dart line, okay, and then you rest it on the second dart leg like so. Now when you do this, you will notice that one side, one of the lines will go up and the other will be lower. All right, it's normal. We'll go ahead and blend them. Now let's connect our neckline. Okay, so we're going to be drafting a sweetheart neckline. Okay, now at this point you also have an opportunity to either increase, okay, your neck depth or to leave it the way it is. But in this case, instead of using the 6.5 inches that we had earlier marked, I will make use of 6 inches. All right, so I just reduced my neck depth to 6 inches. Okay, and here we have it. All right, so before I open up, I'll use my tracing wheel to try and trace out that line. Okay, I know you will not be able to see it, but I can. All right, so I'll just use my pencil to draw it out for us, okay, so that it can be visible for everyone to see. All right, so I'll just connect that with my pencil. Now if you look closely, you will notice that one of the lines is higher, okay, than the other one. Now that's the whole essence of pattern drafting, so that you can correct all these issues. Okay, now that's it for the neckline. So this is our sweetheart neckline. Okay, now there's what we call yoke tightening. Okay, now note that from our overbust line upwards is now our yoke. Okay, so there are two ways that you can make use of your yoke. One is to go ahead and just cut it out and make use of it like this. Okay, the only thing is that when you're joining, you have to trim off the excess. Okay, now the second one is for us to go ahead and tighten our yoke, and to do that, we'll come in with our ruler and we're connecting from the mid shoulder, okay, to our overbust line, okay, like so. We'll connect that using a straight line. Okay, so just watch closely what I'm doing. Now I'll connect that side. Okay, I'll repeat the same on the other side. All right, now and here we have it. We have tightened our yoke. Okay, now I know the question that will be going on in our mind is, by the time we close that yoke, the dart that we just used to tighten the yoke, will it be enough? Okay, now we'll go ahead and reshape our armhole or our arm side, okay, so that we can recover what we used to tighten the yoke. Okay, so you just place your curve like I just did and you redraw. All right, and now this is our new armhole curve. So I'll go ahead and clean off the initial armhole curve. Okay, and here we have it. So what we have now is our new arm side or our armhole curve. Okay, now I will introduce us to how I check to be sure that the yoke is complete. Okay, but before then, let's go ahead and extend our overbust line. You guys remember our overbust line? Okay, so this is it, and now I'll go ahead and cut. Okay, but before we do that, now if you like your neckline like this, you can leave it this way. It's also a design, but I would like to still reshape mine, okay, a bit. All right, and here we have it. Now at this point you can shape your neckline to however you like it. Okay, so this is the neckline. Now I'll go ahead and cut out, okay, so that we can close the yoke. Okay, but before we cut out, I'll still like to reshape my neckline. All right, like I told us, you are at liberty to alter your neckline shape to your desire. All right, so I still want to reshape it a bit. Okay, and here we have it. Okay, so the former one is okay, but I just wanted to give it a little bit of touch. All right, so and here we have it now. So I'll go ahead now and we'll cut. Okay, and we'll continue with the alteration. All right, so let's proceed to cut. Okay, so permit me to turn the paper around. All right, but before we completely cut out, let's go ahead and label. So that's my center front and that's my side front. Okay, now this labeling is very important. Okay, I like to eliminate every form of doubt. Okay, so that even if I give the pattern to someone else to transfer to fabric, the person already knows just by looking at the labeling. All right, so now I'll encourage us to subscribe to the channel. Okay, if you have not, kindly like and share the video. Okay, because it goes a long way to show me that I am making an impact. Okay, all right, so this is it. This is the front pattern set. Okay, now sorry, that's not the front pattern set because the yoke has not been fully cut. Okay, so let's go ahead now and close the yoke. Okay, so go ahead and close the yoke tightening. Now to close every form of tightening or that is the same process. You raise your pattern paper along the marked line, okay, and you rest it on the second dart leg, and here we have it. Now you pay attention to the shoulder line because you will notice that one of the lines will go up. Okay, so it's normal. We will still tighten the shoulder slope. Okay, so we'll take care of that. Now if you notice, the lower part of the yoke is no longer even. Okay, so I'll have to come in with a tiny piece of paper to blend that part. But before then, I promised us I promised to tell us how to know if your yoke is correct. Now your across chest for your front is supposed to be your shoulder measurement -2. Okay, now my shoulder is 16 and half of it is 8, so I just took the across chest for the front now and I got 7. Okay, so that is very correct. That's also how you will do yours. Now I went ahead to tape our yoke tightening down. Okay, so I've closed it permanently. Now back to the lower part. Okay, I just came in with a tiny piece of paper. Now I'll go ahead and tape it down. All right, now I'll come in with my curve and I'll try and reshape that part. Okay, now you need to do all these blendings. Okay, they are called blendings in pattern drafting, so that you're sure that your pattern is correct. Okay, so I just did that. It's just a tiny piece of curve. All right, and here we have it. So I'll just go ahead and cut that out. I'll cut off the excess paper. All right, and we will proceed. All right, and here we have it. I have blended that part. Okay, so this is our yoke. Now we'll go ahead and alter the neckline. So the neckline that I'm working with is 4.5 inches. So that's the neck width of 4.5 inches. All right, and the neck depth for front is 4 inches. So our neckline is 4.5 inches wide by 4 inches depth. Okay, so I'll come in with my curve ruler and I'll go ahead and connect these measurements. All right, and here we have it. Now note that you can alter your neckline to your desire. All right, so we'll go ahead now and we'll tighten our neckline. As usual, we'll come down by 0.5. Remember, for the front alone is 0.5. Now I'll use a straight line to connect to the shoulder tip. Okay, so the tip of the shoulder slope. Now we have taken care of that even line that we had earlier. All right, and here we have it. So we'll go ahead and cut out our yoke for the front. Okay, and here we have it. Now before we completely cut out, I just remember something. We need to measure where the front yoke started, okay, because we also need the back yoke to start at the same point. All right, so I'll place my tape from the starting point and we'll measure down, and what we have there is 7.5. Now I'll go ahead and note these measurements because we will make use of it on the back pattern. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and cut the remaining piece from the front yoke. All right, and here we have it. So our front yoke is ready. Now I'll just go ahead and write it down, okay, so I don't mix anything up. All right, so our front pattern set is ready. Okay, now we'll proceed to the back. All right, so the first measurement we are marking is our 7.5 inches, you remember, which is exactly where the front yoke started. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make a mark at that 7.5 inches. Okay, I'll also repeat the same marking on the other side so that we can get a straight line. Now I'll go ahead and connect this line using a broken line. Okay, so this is where our back yoke will be starting. Okay, now we'll go ahead to tighten the back yoke. The first thing we're going to do is to go ahead and extend our dart line to the yoke. Okay, now we'll go ahead and use 0.5 to tighten that yoke. Okay, and as usual, we'll divide that 0.5 into 2, and that will give us 0.25 and 0.25. Okay, so we'll go ahead and mark our 0.25 on each side of the dart. Okay, now I'll come in with my straight line to connect it back to our waist dart. Okay, like so. Okay, and here we have it. We have tightened our dart. All right, now for the yoke style, at this point you need to choose, but the first thing we're doing is to go ahead and alter our neckline. You remember our neck width of 4.5. all right, I just marked that. Now my neck depth is 1.5 inches. Okay, remember at this point you choose your desired yoke for the back. Okay, your style line. Now I want my neck depth to be 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and connect that to the 4.5 inches neck width. Okay, now this is the first stage of the yoke. Okay, so the second stage is for us to determine the style. All right, so from the 1.5 inches that we came down, I will go ahead and mark 3.5 inches. Okay, so because I like my yoke to have a bit of an opening. Okay, so I'll come in with my curve ruler and I'm connecting from the 3.5 to the first dart leg. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect like so. Okay, and here we have it. So this is the style of my back yoke. Remember, that's the style I want. You can go ahead and do yours. Now I'll be using cover button, okay, on that side. All right, so I'll make cover buttons maybe about 5 or 6. Okay, and here we have it. Now note that if you don't want to have the joining on your back, you can go ahead and close that dart. Okay, so we'll still come to that much later. Now for the styling of your yoke, you can go ahead and slant your yoke just like I'm illustrating. Okay, if that's your desired style, you're free to alter your pattern to your style of choice. Okay, but this is the way I want mine. Now we'll proceed to tighten the neckline of the back, and you know we'll make use of 0.25. okay, for the back neckline tightening. So connect that to the shoulder tip. Okay, and here we have it. We have tightened the back neckline, and as usual we'll label the pattern. So that's my back yoke. Okay, now we will proceed to cut out. All right, okay, now note that if you don't want to have joining on this pattern like I had mentioned before, you can close that dart. Okay, so you close the dart, there will not be any form of joining at the back, and it looks like that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so it looks like that's what I will try out. All right, because let's just do something different. Okay, so before we get to that, I'll go ahead and continue our cutting. Okay, so but before that we need to label. So that's my my side back, and my center back. Okay, now I like to use arrows to indicate the chest line. Okay, or you can just go ahead and write it CH so that anybody that sees it will know that that's your chest line. Okay, I also use arrows to indicate the part that I will be joining. That is if I will be joining the two back pieces. All right, so these markings are important. Now let's go ahead and cut our yoke. Okay, pay attention to the lines that I am cutting. And here we have it for the back yoke. All right, so let's go ahead and continue our cutting. Okay, so let's cut the center back. Okay, and here we have it. Now let's try and close the back dart. Okay, so it's still the same principle. You raise your pattern paper along the marked line, all right, and you lay it on the second dart leg. Okay, I know that by now it will be some sort of a music, all right, but these things are very important. Okay, so I just closed it. It's that simple. Okay, so I will come in with my tape and I'll close that down permanently. Now note is optional. If you don't want that, you can go ahead and separate your patterns and join. Okay, now I like to note where the yoke will be starting. Okay, so I'll place it like so. Now I will just use my pencil to indicate the points. Okay, now I'll come in with my tape to measure from the center back to that point that we just marked. Okay, and what we have there is 3.5 inches. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and write it on my pattern that the yoke is 3.5 inches away from the center back. All right, so I like to write on my patterns, and the more you write the better for clarity's sake. Okay, and here we have it, so that even if I give this pattern to somebody else to join, once the person sees the write-up, the person won't go joining the yoke, okay, away from where it's supposed to start from. All right, so this is the way the pattern will look when we are done. Okay, so I'll come in with my tape now and we will close our dart permanently. All right, and here we have it. I have permanently closed it. Okay, all right, so here we have it. Our pattern set is actually ready. Okay, so that's the back and this is the front. So what we have here is a complete pattern set. All right, so I'll go ahead and transfer this to fabric. I have a detailed video on how to transfer your patterns to your fabric and how to add your allowances. Okay, I'll leave the link in the description box. All right, so kindly subscribe to my channel if you have not. Leave your comments, like and share, and I'll see us in the next video where we'll be joining all the patterns together. Okay, so till we meet again. Bye.